Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to I am your host, Tyrone Bridges. Let's get it.
Test. Welcome, everybody. I am your host, Tyrone Bridges, and we have a very, very special guest on our show today. A mayor candidate that I know.
Yes.
Miss Nicole A. Brown. Welcome to our show.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
All righty. Excuse me, I don't want to restart this, but it sounds good. Just wanted to make sure we were good. Everybody's connected. We have live chat on. People are communicating with us. And let's get it. So tell us about you and your campaign. Tell us, just talk to the people like
Okay.
You don't know.
All right. Well, yes, again, my name is Nicole Brown, and I am currently running for the mayor of Ypsilanti seat. At this current time, I'm actually elected to city council right now, serving as mayor pro tem. And I'm going into this is 7.5 years on council, so my second term. So I was elected in 2014, re-elected in 2018, and then that term will end in November of 2022. And so I decided with, after prayer, conversation, going back and forth about is it the right time, is it not, to throw my hat in the ring for mayor.
Now is the time.
Now is the time. Okay.
There you go.
Exactly. Now is the time. And, time waits for no one, and what does waiting get you, right?
Right.
So the reason why I decided to do it, I would say ultimately, is because there's just been so many things that have been going on, so much work that has been done, and so much work that I really want to continue. And I feel like, again, the time is now to really step into the leadership role as the head and kind of help to bring council together and move us forward into the future, and thinking about how do we make sure that we sustain this community and build community and rebuild community. And there are so many people doing a lot of great work out here, and I'm ready to collaborate and support and uplift of those individuals, while also bringing forth some innovative ideas.
All right, great. Could you tell us any support that you have already?
Support that I have already: Jimmy Wilson, who is a current Ypsilanti Township trustee who is running for state representative.
All right.
Annie Somerville, who is running for county commissioner. Let's see. Oh, I wasn't prepared to name drop.
That's all right. Well, two of them appeared on our show.
Well, yes, two of them,
two
and
of our
many
favorites.
Very important community members. Brian Foley, who is a community leader. And I would call him an activist. Sometimes he doesn't like that terminology, but he is an activist and very involved in the community. So yeah, just working alongside of a lot of folks. I think that right now, there are so many faces and names that maybe you name drop and somebody may not know who they are, but they are doing the good work behind the scenes and really getting to it. And those are the people that actually I really want to work alongside and to support me. So working to also garner additional endorsements as well. I have been endorsed by the union local 499 laborers, and working on getting some additional endorsements too.
Okay. All right, great. Tell us some of the key things that you have been working on that you would like to carry on if you were elected mayor.
Absolutely. So one of the main things is that my platform back in 2014 up until now is to make sure that we are supporting our youth and youth serving organizations. And so one of the things that I collaborated with other council members, of course, because nothing can be done by an individual when you're on council.
Right.
But did spearhead and bringing forth is a youth grant process for the city. So we have for the past several years put aside $25,000 where we give money to local nonprofits that service youth specifically to enhance and support their programming. And so what I would like to do is not only continue providing that funding source, but expand on that by collaborating more with these organizations and really getting boots on the ground to offer them like tangible support beyond financial and fiscal support for the work they're doing in the community. Because there are a lot of places doing a lot of things for young folks. But sometimes the word doesn't get out, or people are recreating the wheel. We're not like working together. And so I want to be able to use the city as a catalyst to foster collaboration so that we are also using our resources and spreading them as wide and as vast as possible.
All right.
I also know that, affordable housing is just a conversation that is happening all over, and specifically in Ypsilanti, because in the county, we house majority of Washtenaw County's affordable housing in the city of Ypsilanti. And it's twofold. I want to work to support making sure that we enhance, not only economic development, but just housing availability and affordability for people in the community. And then the other thing is, I also did spearhead with another council member, the city putting funding into barrier busters at the county level to make sure that those who have needs that are not being met or are having a hard time making sure that they're paying these high rents, have an opportunity to tap into resources. And that money was specific to the city of Ypsilanti's residents. So although barrier busters services the entire county, we set aside $75,000 to give just specifically for Ypsi residents. And that money in last fiscal year was spent down to zero. So we know that it's a need and it's something that needs to continue. And also can be expanded on and focus on, okay, what is the root of these issues then that cause our residents to need this service, right? Because if we can meet it at the lowest level, then we can eliminate some of those needs, right? And help elevate those folks to not have to constantly trying to figure out how they're going to pay their rent or where they're going to live next year.
Right.
The other piece is that, this is a conversation that's happening across the board is around community safety. And so one of the things that I have been working with actual council member Somerville on researching and investigating is how do we create a non-police crisis intervention team so that not only can we allow our police officers to do what they are, there to do and what their job description is, but also we recognize that some of the things in the calls they're getting called to are not police matters. They're not emergency issues in the sense of law enforcement needing to be involved. A lot of times it goes back to basic needs needing to be met, right? Folks needing resources, people having questions about how do I get in touch with my mental health needs, or if I have something for housing or food assistance. And so we want to take that responsibility away from law enforcement and put it in the hands of those who are trained and, focus on that work specifically, so that not only we're not overwhelming our police department, but we're also literally making sure that we have folks who are not going to intimidate individuals, right? Even unbeknownst to themselves. When somebody shows up with a badge and a gun on their hip, especially to the Black community, that is immediately an opportunity to be intimidated, whether we want to say it out loud or not. That's intimidating. And so what I don't want to see is for us to continue having police always have to show up to those situations, even if it's intentionally or unintentionally alienating those who need help the most, when it's not a police matter, right? And so the intention, there's a lot of different mechanisms and places that have tried and done things like this, and they've been housed sometimes in fire departments, sometimes it's housed right through the municipality and they have a department or division of volunteers who do it. So really trying to figure out how to make that work for us within this 4 square miles, and then as well as, financially, because it's an expensive undertaking. But it is something that is front of mind for me and many of my colleagues, because we recognize the need for that separation within the community, especially because we're already functioning at below staffing levels in our police department and our fire department. And then, I guess I'll say one more thing, and then if you have questions, we can kind of like keep talking about it. But also, I do have my heart is in mental health. And so destigmatizing mental health crises and folks who are experiencing hardship based on a diagnosis, like that is of utmost importance to me. I believe wholeheartedly in equity and diversity, and making sure that just because someone is differently abled than me or you, they have the same opportunities that we have, and that stigma doesn't prevent them from being able to, be a citizen and have experiences that are welcoming and warm, and also getting their needs met, right? Not being written off because you're seeing them in crisis and they're exhibiting these different behaviors that folks want to write them off and cart them off to jail or send them off to a hospital to have them locked down. Like, that's not what I want to see. I'm a social worker by education and by trade, and my day job, that's what I do. I work in children's mental health. And so that is also very near and dear to my heart. And that closely links itself to the idea of decarceration and making sure that we remove the stigmas of those who are returning home from being, sent to jail for things that sometimes they shouldn't even have been sent for, right? That now have turned into lucrative businesses, let's say.
Yeah.
And so, again, I think the underlying root of most of the things that I've just shared and what I want to work on is really lifting equity in this community and building a sense of true community throughout Ypsilanti.
That's wonderful. We need that right now in Ypsilanti. Ypsilanti is taking so many different turns. Ypsilanti is not the worst community. It's not the greatest community, but we have a prideful bunch of people in Ypsi want to see Ypsilanti grow.
Yeah.
Like I was previously talking about on the last show, we have an elephant in the room. The elephant in the room, a few elephants in the room that I spoke about. And I'm pretty sure that you were, I'm pretty sure that you were CC'd a copy of an email that I sent to the chief of police about the shooting. Yeah. Oh, so you received it too. Great. I wanted to make sure because, I wanted to cross my, cross my T's and dot my I's. I wanted to do the right thing. So my biggest concern with that was the failure that the chief displayed in his reply, being more defensive instead of being more supportive to trying to get information that he can out to us so we can put it out to the public. Because just like I said before, we had a young man that was killed, that was shot at Bud and Joe's in front of a driver and two kids in the back seat. The man drove the victim to the Ypsilanti Police Department. And I'm not sure if he expired there or at the hospital, but the bad thing about it, we only got a blurb. We thought that we could call or get information from the chief. Instead, we got what we got via email. And for the sake of transparency, at a shooting that happened in broad open daylight, 11 o'clock a.m., while the baby's down the street at school, and also at Workforce Development Center, where you got young folk going in and out of there trying to apply for jobs. Near church, one of our mega churches. And the traffic jams that's stopping these businesses from getting a lot of business because of the traffic, because they're doing the road construction. What is wrong with this picture when we got a chief that replied in a defensive way instead of being more supportive? What can we look forward to, I should say, if you are mayor, to deal with the dysfunctional police department? I'm just gonna put it bluntly.
Okay. So, I think a couple things. Everything you said is true. That is such an unfortunate situation that occurred. I mean, it's a recipe for disaster just based on location. I mean, no one deserves to be shot. No one deserves to be killed. But I mean, that location is just proximate to so much. And so that was very scary. I know when I got the alert about it, I was shocked. It was broad daylight early in the day. I was at work. I'm like, wow. I think that we have been, as a city, overwhelmed by violence and gun violence. And as it, we used to be, when it gets warm, people expected it. And now we see it all year, anytime. And I think that it's important to be transparent. It's important to share. It's important to know when there might be a threat or there might be danger in the area, things that are going on. And I expect that our staff are responsive to community members who have inquiries and have requests. I mean, that is an expectation. That is an expectation that we have for ourselves as a council person. If someone reaches out to me, asks me a question, I need to answer that question to the best of my ability.
That's right.
What I can't speak to in that moment, I will say, and I won't ever try to mince or pretend that I know all the answers, is that in the moment when something like this happens and an investigation is going on, I am not a police expert. So I don't necessarily know the moving parts in how things get to the chief or how, the investigation gets underway. What I do know is that when information is available and can be shared, it should be shared.
And right, that's what I was basically stating, that there was an active shooter on the loose that just killed a man in broad open daylight when less than 3 football fields down the street is an elementary school, an award-winning elementary school in our city. No nixle, no alert, no lockdown order, no nothing. At the end of the day, we just had a shooting at a school. This gunman in our city, running on the loose, could have very well went to the church, could have went to Michigan Works, could have went to the school down the street, but nobody knew nothing about it until a few days later. But still, currently, no more information is out. We still have an active shooter running the streets that then killed somebody in our city. And that is concerning because the police have a job to do, but when you have an active shooter that then took somebody's life, the public needs to know to be on the lookout. That wasn't shared. That's a major problem.
And it's interesting that you say that, because one of the things that we don't have in the city under our control is like a nixle, or is a way to get immediate alerts out. We have the citywide email, but if you're not on that listserv, you're not going to get the email.
Well, we got to fix that.
Exactly. And that's what I'm getting to. And that is something that needs to be fixed. We need to figure out a mechanism to make sure that in real time, we can get information out. And that has been a struggle for the city as a whole right now, and over the past few years. And we do have a new communications director that this is a really good conversation for me to have with him and with the chief to figure out what mechanisms we can put in place to do that and better do that, especially for those who also don't use like social media or who are not necessarily as tech savvy, because that's another part of the issue, right? Like, we're getting better. We have active, Facebook presence and things are shared there, but not everybody's on Facebook, right? That can't be the only way. And so I think that what you're talking about here is a bigger issue citywide, not just about police, that we have to have a way to get immediate information out to the community and to our constituents. And we just don't have that right now. And that needs to be a priority.
Well, let's for the sake of people that's watching and the sake of transparency, let's put that on our agenda to even work with. We will help work with the city.
Absolutely.
We will help work with anybody that want to make our city better. And hold us to the fire with that, because we want to hold everybody to the fire to that, because we don't want no more shooters running around here shooting nobody with impunity. We don't want no more kids running around here killing nobody. We're done with it. We're tired of it. Look, COVID done kicked our butts.
Yeah. And
haven't you heard people with the guns? They got beefs over Facebooks. It ain't that serious. Now they like the guys, like my cousin says, a lot of them too sissified. They used to put up the dukes, but they don't do it no more. Yeah. God rest his soul. But that's exactly what they don't do it. They don't do it, but they just want to shoot first. But then you get away and the public has no clue that somebody's baby dead. And them kids, and I dig that you social worker and everything, and I want more social workers in our public servant domain, because we do need to address things like the shootings that happen in front of them kids, as well as the shooting that happened right up the streets, the drive-bys at the apartment complex and stuff like that. We know that we need to do better. We need to offer our citizens and the voters a olive branch. We gonna do it. We gonna change some stuff. It's gonna take some change. It's gonna take some butts kicking, and it's gonna take some calling people to the carpet. Because I do believe, and this is my own personal belief, because like I said, I invite everybody on the show equally. If you're a politician that's been in the office for a long, very long time, and you knew incidents like this years ago used to happen, and still the same plan is to throw money back in the community and ain't stopping not nan bullet from killing nobody. You cannot put the type of money that you're talking about back in the hands of the community, and you ain't changing no lives being saved. You can save a few kids, but what's happening with other situations that's not being reported? There's many things not being reported. Those are the elephants in the room that a lot of people have called the show and asked us to, hey, hold these politicians' feet to the fire. You got to ask them about that. And I'm not going to keep on about that. I'm going to speak as well about the deficit that MLI put out there. I know right now y'all have a vision to change it. Wonderful, wonderful. Just like previously I spoke on our show about Amazon and their vehicles are parked down the street, where just up the street, you got low-income people needing jobs. And you got Michigan Works. You see, it's a lot of agencies out here, but they're not connecting the dots. You got a number one employer down there on Spring Street, parking all them vans down there. You mean to tell me Amazon don't have the guts to hire nobody in that poor community up the street? And you parking your vehicles in our poor Ward 1 area? Disgusting. Chrysler, Ford, whoever using them lots. Yeah, I would call them to the carpet. Y'all want to use our Ward 1 to park y'all vehicles that y'all can't find chips to, and y'all repairing vehicles, and we got enough qualified mechanics up the street in Ward 1. You know that, don't you?
I do.
You know a bunch of qualified mechanics. They could probably fix them better than their mechanics, but you gotta give them a chance. You gotta give them a chance.
And you know, jobs are a huge piece of this. I mean, it's one of the baseline reasons why you know, myself and Annie and other council members were so excited about, you know, changing our non-discrimination ordinance to make sure that felony convictions and misdemeanors were protected classes, right?
Right.
So we stop alienating those who had these labels on them and preventing them from being able to obtain gainful employment, right?
Yeah.
And not
like
allow
banning the felony checkbox. Remember, I took my oath when I was a commissioner.
yeah.
I was a human relations commissioner hired specifically to address that the felony checkbox. So yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I know exactly what it is.
Exactly. And so it is, there's truth. There's so much truth in what you're saying about not leaning back into this community to provide opportunities to those who live here. And, you know, people get upset sometimes when lifelong residents of the city talk about being lifelong residents and what they expect and like people coming in. But in that scenario in specific, that there is so much truth to that, right? People see what Ypsilanti has to offer. They see how great of a community is, how eclectic we are, how, you know, how special Ypsi is. They want to be here, and they should be held to an expectation to also then pour back into said community. And
I'm definitely, you know, I'm going to throw this out there to you and Annie, because I know for a fact, every time I call Annie, she answers. She does everything I request. She investigates. She jumps on it. So I know if you're rolling with her, you're rolling with a good person. But you've been here, and she's been backing us up in Lansing with Senator Jeff Irwin. So we know we got some good people running for office that needs to be in the seat they choose. I'm a medical marijuana card holder. Proud of it. I don't smoke in front of nobody. I don't do all that crap, but I just want to let everybody know this. I know that the funds that one of those main medical marijuana dispensaries, which is expanding, I brought this up to Ann about the hiring practices of these dispensaries on the show before, and she actually spoke about it And believe me, I swear it. I don't know if Annie is a magician or whatever, but all I can say, it was a lot of Black people working in them dispensaries after I had that conversation with her, period. What I'm saying, you got this one dispensary, and I'm not picking on this, I'm picking on all the dispensaries, hell with that, because they don't realize, our public don't realize the amount of money that comes in those dispensaries per day. If a dispensary has the right to expand, I'm talking about take up more land, sister. Take up more land in Ward 1. It should be across the board policy some way, somehow, that you guys as city council, and possibly by you being a new mayor, could introduce a part of the employment piece. If you gonna expand in Ward 1, you better have Ward 1 resident applications and hire some people up the street in the hood that you pulling dollars from. How many dispensaries do we got in Ward 1 alone? How many do we got in Ward 3? We can do the math. But if we was to talk with them before encouraging them to do the right thing, because right is right and wrong is wrong. Correct. Because you know that big old warehouse in front of that mega church on Harriet Street, that was supposed to have been a job source in Ward 1. But the old politicians failed us because that's no more. What we need to do, we need to have them dispensaries hire some of these people who you patronize too. It's unfair. Of course, marijuana is legal, but the hiring practice is full of bullshit. They hiring their family members. They hiring their cousins, brothers and sisters, and their girlfriends, but I don't see nobody from the community. Washtenaw County, City of Ypsilanti, and unfortunately, I wish Ypsi Township could have bit that apple when they had the chance, but we'll talk about that because we're not talking about Ypsi Township. But that right there is a great source of hiring. All them dispensaries. You mean to tell me most of these young brothers out here can probably count better than them dispensary owners? And y'all can't put them to work?
I mean,
sisters
that's
too?
To give back to the community that you
give back.
You are now a part of, right?
It should be mandated.
Yeah.
Y'all pimp, what they doing in layman's terms, they pimping us. They pimping Ypsilantians. Y'all in their hood. Like if I was to come set my tent up in your backyard and have a picnic bar, everybody having a good time coming in, you'd be like, wait a minute, you ain't giving me no money off this. That's not right.
I mean, yeah.
That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, no.
This is untapped resources. And I know we tagging them with the taxes or whatever, but no, come on. It's called out of the box thinkers. Sound like to me, you and Annie already on that page.
Yes, and having conversations about those things, so because it is important, it is. This is the community that was most disproportionately and negatively impacted by, prohibition on marijuana prior to it being legalized. So of course it would only make sense that there is benefit poured back into that community now that it is free and open.
Can you imagine if they, and I'm sorry for so long-winded, I feel I can get something out there too. You might be able to pull something together. Can you imagine if every medical marijuana dispensary in the city of Ypsilanti, within their boundaries, donate a portion of the funds that will help run Park Ridge Community Center?
That would be amazing.
Park Ridge could take the general fund money or whatever money they coming from, they could put that in the pocket to help kids. Can you imagine if any of those medical marijuana dispensary, they greedy asses, I can call them by name, but I won't do that because I'll do a different segment on that. Can you imagine any medical marijuana dispensary paying for summer camp for every kid that can't afford it in the city of Ypsi. Can you imagine it?
Yeah. And I think that the controversy there is that there is money, right? That, like you had already stated, that already goes off the top, right? When they pay their fees and their registration fees, that comes back to the city, and then we have decided that we're going to use that for social equity, right? And putting it back into the community. But I think what I'm hearing you say is for the dispensaries themselves to make a conscious decision to also contribute on top of that.
It's a win-win for them. When you go to them, you tell them, look, you want crime back. You want a crime-free community where all of your patrons feel comfortable coming to your shop. It's like a sandcastle, a sandcastle theory. When a kid builds a sandcastle and people putting their money off into it, they're gonna watch that sandcastle. They're gonna make it good. So what they need to do is think outside of the box and not have to make nobody put that on documentation. It's called paying your tithes. It's called giving back. They don't do enough of that. And if they give back during a key time, that will unloose a lot of dollars that y'all can do other things with.
I mean, I would be totally open, of course, open to that. I think, that's where we want to head, right? That any business, not even just the marijuana dispensaries, feel so connected to this community.
They
want to give back, right? Absolutely.
They should be able to pay for the summer fest. They should be able to pay for all the concerts that we have, put their name on it, because the dollars that they receiving daily, it ain't gonna pinch their pocket. It is not gonna pinch their pocket.
And I also think too that like it's a two-way street around also them feeling like they belong as well, like they're welcome into the community. I know people have different opinions on it, but at the end of the day, they're here, right? And so we also need to make sure that we are, I would say as elected officials specifically, that we don't alienate the businesses that are in our community as well, because that is how you foster that type of collaboration and that type of support, right? They have to feel welcome too. But
we'll open it up to everybody. We'll open it up to everybody during the summer. We know that most of the kids go to the summer camp over there. We can put a pledge out to everybody. Look here, put up or shut up. Y'all want the community to be safer? Sponsor a kid without asking. Sponsor a kid without having to say, we gonna make you do it per policy.
That would be beautiful. That would be beautiful.
We need to speak that. We got to speak it into existence, because I know a lot of these businesses is tired. High-speed chases, the shootings. You can't run a good business nowhere where you got crime.
Yeah.
You can't. People gonna run.
And it's going back to what we talked about earlier, right? About what the root of the issues are. The root of the issues are not necessarily that, we need to be throwing money at things in that way. It's about what comes after that, what comes out of it, right? What people are doing together, what young people are seeing, what they're able to learn, what tangible, trades and techniques and things they can do, art, the things that really tie them to their community, right? And keep them away from risky behaviors, because they have places to go, like Park Ridge, safe spaces and activities to do that, enlighten their minds, don't have them with idle time. So I think it is a win-win if we see more opportunity for folks to, again, pour back into our young folks, pour back into our community, and offer the resources that they have to better support the community. It benefits them too. So I agree with you.
A lot of businesses, y'all know it's a tax write-off anyway. A lot of lawyers right there on Huron Street, all y'all rich lawyers, y'all know it's a tax write-off. Y'all know it's a tax write-off. I'm gonna start calling a lot of them out. Y'all not gonna like my show. Y'all gonna call me an agitator. But I'm gonna be honest with you. If there's money that can be shifted, y'all talking about we're in a deficit. We ain't in no deficit. We can shake out a little bit here and a little bit there. We can make some stuff happen.
I like that energy, because we do need to figure out, what to do. And I think, like you're saying, people are going to call you an agitator. That's fine, right? Because everybody doesn't have to agree with the things that you say or that I say. But sometimes, something that I've talked about a lot is sometimes the answer comes out of that thing that was contrary, right? Or comes out of that conversation that you didn't necessarily agree with, or that detractor that you had that's saying negative, something that they deem that you're doing negatively or a negative thought. Mm-hmm. But there is some type of gem in all these statements. There is something that is of use in all these conversations, whether I wholeheartedly agree with you or I don't, right? And so you have to be willing to listen.
Yeah, like I was laughing about the deficit. Per MLive say 686,000. What's funny is when I ran for mayor and we had in front of Pete Murdoch and Amanda Edmonds, and I was talking about what I would do if I was mayor with Water Street. You got all that damn dirt down there, ain't nobody doing a damn thing with it. You can't fish down there, the water polluted. Why not somebody offer a carnival to come down here? Put it down there, make some money. You got dirt down there. What else you can do? You ain't gonna build no time soon. It's been years, and I think I ran for mayor. What year was that? It's been a long time. But between then and now, we'd have raised a few dollars on that land down there.
And have had some opportunities that have come and gone. You know, it's been that is also a priority. So get Water Street off the ground. Like we need something there. And there have been a lot of ideas along the same lines, you know, not necessarily it having to be some type of business, but housing or using it for the waterway, right? Putting things on the waterway to increase, like, you know, like as a tourist feature to bring folks in to see the water and stuff like that. But Water Street has been the bane of Ypsi's existence for many, many moons. And the intention here also, again, getting back to, you know, my leadership style is to be able to usher us into some good connections and to get this job done.
Yes.
Because I think that we have also had folks who have been skeptical or who have chased potential, you know, developers away, chase things away. And we have to be open to sometimes what we get is not going to be perfect, but it might be what we need in this moment. And Water Street to be bringing in taxable revenue is what we need to bring the cities fiscally to solvency so that we can have the money to do some of these other things as well on our own, right? We still need people to pour in. We still need people to give, but we have to be able to balance our budget on our own, right? At some point or another. And I think Water Street is a huge piece of that. So I'm glad you brought that up as well. But that's been ongoing before me.
Right. Remember, that's Ward 1. That's Ward 1's property down there.
Ward 1 property, yes.
You kicked away taxpayers and you guys didn't do it, but y'all inherited the BS.
Yes, and we've been dealing with it for many years because of it and finding creative ways to do so. Yeah,
definitely. And I know it ain't gonna change overnight, but at the same time, when that dirt is down there and I ride back and forth up and down that street and I be like, damn, everybody be trying to go to Cedar Point and we got a little carnival area over here and the kids can have something to do. We can bring all our forces together and utilize it. We can make $100,000 off that property.
Yeah, there was conversation about the contamination and what it does to the air. So
contaminated, you know, and I feel like this, and this ain't on you, but is the much money they paid for that brownfield development down there to go down there, dig all that damn dirt up and flip it and toss it. I went down there with the shoveling ceremony. I did shovel dirt too. I was wondering if I was contaminated after all that. All that money they put in that development just to test that ground. And basically it's still the same damn ground, but the people took that money and the ground's still in the same condition.
But we learned a lot. It was, like you said, some of it was before my time, some of it was during my time, but we did at least learn what was there. And now, and as we bring in opportunities for development, we can be upfront with them about what's there and what they have.
There you go. And I think that right there is a great segment to go into the transparency. Let everybody know about your campaign, how to support you, because I know we need some energy in. I'm gonna say it like my father would say, or my cousin would say, we need some energy in the White House. And I'm talking about the Ypsi city of Ypsilanti. The leadership needs to be flipped. It needs to be flipped. And we need some good leaders. So please tell them about your campaign. I know I'm long-winded.
You're fine. This your show.
All right.
Look, it's your show.
No, it's your time though. Go ahead, talk to them.
So my official campaign kickoff actually will be this Wednesday, June 1st, at 734 Brewery in Depot Town from 6 to 8 p.m. Folks can come out there if they want to sign up to volunteer, if they want to donate funds, if they want to donate funds or their time, or just to show their support. I do have an Act Blue link that I can also send you if you would like it, that we can share out. But it's like Act Blue, it's Secure Act Blue, but it's /elect Nicole is the end of the URL link. And what we're going to be doing is getting out here, knocking these doors and talking to people. That's right. I mean, I'm already talking to people, but I'm coming to your house, basically.
That's right. Pandemic or no pandemic, she gonna come knock at your door fully masked. 6 feet
away from you at your door and with a mask on, but we're gonna talk, because I really want to know. There are a lot of things that we talk about all the time. People come to council, but there are a lot more people who don't come to council, right, and who sometimes don't even know what's going on, and they would love to know. Right. And again, that goes back to the communications piece, why we have a new communications director or manager and, the things that we're trying to do as a city. But for me, as wanting to be the next mayor of Ypsilanti and still a current city council member, the intention is to keep the communication lines open. Folks can call me. My cell phone number is 313-888-4044. It's really simple. Lots of times people tell me I sound like it's a bill collector. It's not. It's me. They can call me. They can email me. And we can have these conversations to make sure that the needs of the people are lifted and put on the table. I do feel like I agree. I think I have a lot of energy right now, behind this and always have, and the stamina to do so. I think that I am someone who is open to all types of feedback. If you can tell, I listen to everything. And then I parse out what are the important pieces and what do we need to move forward. And I'm not afraid to change my mind. If you give me new information, I'm like, you know what, you're right. I don't think I know everything. And I think that's the type of leadership that we need. Someone who is willing to listen, who is okay with saying, you know what, I was wrong. And I can change my mind. Or this is right. And I'm sticking to my guns and I'm confident in what I'm doing here and what people have told me they want me to do. And so I hope to garner the support of the Ypsilanti community to be the next mayor of Ypsilanti. And, the primary is August 2nd. So make sure people go out to vote. That's important regardless. We have to vote, y'all. And local elections are the most important elections to our lives. They impact our day to day. So please make sure that you get out and vote, regardless of who you're voting for, but hopefully your support will be behind me.
And you see, y'all, she said it a whole mouthful. She said she has the energy. She came on the show by herself. She said she got this. I feel she does. I feel that she has the appeal to change things when they're not right. And she has the courage to face things that she might have got wrong. Mm-hmm. We need this type of leadership. Y'all know how Ypsi been rolling for a long time. Ypsi needs to be on balanced footing right now. And we need leadership. We need leadership. We need council. We need Ward 1 representatives. We need representatives that's going to stand up for Ward 1 and stop letting people put stuff in their community and taking money out of their community without putting back in. And I'm not just specifically speaking about the marijuana dispensary, but I was putting special emphasis on the marijuana dispensary because you're making too much damn money in one day to not give back to the hood that's the poorest in the city that you pimp. So this is not nothing against nobody that support our campaign is with the dispensaries, but look, y'all got to understand, we got to come together and do it together. The only way we gonna change Ypsi is come together. And we're going to utilize this platform as much as possible to get out all the information to the public about the great things you're doing, about the great things the city officials are doing in Ypsi. We need more information out there. MLive, you got to pay for a subscription.
Yeah.
But you can get I Thought You Knew live. You can check us out on Facebook groups. You can check us out on our YouTube channel up under Tyrone Bridges. Or you can check us out at our website at I Thought You Knew Ypsi, YPSI.com. And this was a great honor to interview Nicole. I know her, I've been knowing her. And honestly, I wanted to mention this, full disclosure in the room, she's family, so I have to mention it. I have to be particularly smooth with her because I don't want to make it seem like I'm biased. I'm not biased. I want the things that done in the city addressed with transparency and with somebody that has a heart to do what they need to do. Thank you, Nicole, for all you've done. You working with the council, Annie, all y'all been dynamite. Y'all been doing y'all thing.
And call me out. Call me out, Tyrone. If you feel like I'm not doing what I'm supposed to do, call me out. There have been many people who have done so in their opinion, and I receive it. And I might be able to give you some insight, but I want to have the dialogue. So I'm open to the dialogue and the conversation at any time.
You know what got me for you? With you, you said you received that email chain that I sent to you. I sent it to every council member that exists in the city of Ypsilanti. Thank you for being transparent with that. I really thank you for that. Look here, y'all support her campaign. Check her out. Call her to the carpet. Y'all got a number. Rewind it if y'all didn't get it. This is Nicole A. Brown. She's our candidate for the city of Ypsilanti. She's trying to make it as the mayor of Ypsilanti. She is currently the mayor pro tem. Look here. Look her up. Check out this interview. She's been raw. And look, she ain't scared to come on. I thought you knew. Some of you people that got the invitation, I'm not that bad, am I?
No, this was great. It's fine.
All right, Nicole. And I thank you for coming on once again, and congratulations to you and your blessing. Congratulations.
And I look forward to coming back. I'll be back.
All righty.
Okay.
All right, y'all. Thank you very much. Talk to you later. Peace.